What's up YouTube? Dale here from Zephyr with another live duel from local. So on the left we have Enneacraft and on the right we've got Cool Tunes. So two brand new decks from Phantom Revenge. So we're starting off with the scales. The scales are going to be paying their multitudes of 900 life points to pretty much get to the next scale over and over and over again. Now in Cool Tunes I'm not main decking Droll and Lockbird because you kind of don't really want to be maining non-tuners where at all possible. So that's one thing to kind of keep into account. The other side of it as well, which also shows how incomplete Cool Tunes are right now, is that in some scenarios, some of the hand interactions that you're playing are of no use. Now, I really want to get Ghost Reaper into the deck, but the issue with that is you probably have about, if you're not playing Pot of Extravagance, you probably have about 5 spaces in the extra deck that you can use for Reaper targets. Now, those Reaper targets then need to be dictated by the local environment. So unless you know exactly what people are going to be playing on the day and you can pinpoint the exact Reaper target that you need to use, it can get very, very tricky. Now, obviously, Yummy, you're like, okay, cool, you're going to go with Snatchy. With Draco Tail, you can decide, probably going to go for an Arthulion. Generics, you can use SP Little Knight. But then from everything else like that, if your local environment is a little bit more kind of widened around, varied is probably the better idea on that one, then Reaper becomes a little bit trickier to do. So in my build at the moment, there is 2 Ghost Bells, 2 Ghost Ogres, and 2 Ghost Mourners with 3 Ash Blossom. The other side of that one is the level 3s aren't that great because the level 3s can only help you use a Rico into Rico or Q into the level 6, which is kind of okay. It can duplicate one of the graveyard effects. It can help you get into Remix, which is pretty decent, but it doesn't get you to like the starter, and that's kind of where you need to get into your maker. And that's why I really hope that in the future Cool Tunes get a, it'd be really nice to get a level 1, and if they get a level 1 it'd also be really nice to get a level 3 synchro. Anyway, so as we've continued here, Enneacraft have done all of their searching. They've set down 4 monsters and then they've set 1. Now, this is the first time this player has brought Enneacraft to local. So there will be some points when you're like, maybe you should have set some of those monsters first. With the Cool Tunes, we're going to be starting off with Cool Tune Q. It's like the best start you could possibly get. It's going to attempt to get you a tuner directly from the deck, hand, or grave. So we're going to be going for Red Nova, which is the best one to go for. Hopefully this is getting reprinted in Rarity Collection 5 or maybe even the new May set, like the sooner the better. I'm going to go into our Trap Maker. This is like your standard 1-card combo because you get to go Chainlink 1 Trap Maker to search you out any Cool Tune card. Chainlink 2 will be Red Nova, and then Chainlink 3 is Q. So you kind of like chain block everything you need to. You get to excavate the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck, and then you banish one and top deck the other. So we're just resolving that now, which is quite nice to see. The other thing that in this matchup that's really, really important is all of your cards want to target a lot. And what I mean by that is, like, apart from Maker doesn't target, but everything else wants to target. So if they do get the ability to target Protect with the Pexia, it makes it very, very awkward. So we're just resolving everything. We're going to add Cool Tune Synchro, and we're going to be summoning out Rico. Then on a new chain, we're going to go Chainlink 1 Rico to add. Now, this is obviously where I can start to trigger off the Enneacraft little guys. Is exactly what's going to happen here. So revealing the Enneacraft is going to allow my opponent to grab an Enneacraft card of their choosing. I'm going to resolve by grabbing a Cool Tune Clip, which is the technical hand interactor of the deck, where it kind of summons itself down during your opponent's turn and then completes a Synchro Summon. The only downside of that one is the Synchro Summons it can make needs other Cool Tunes. Like, it can't really do a lot with other cards sometimes. They then also get to banish a random card from my hand that I get back during the end phase, and they hit the Gamma. So not the like probably the worst one for me to have hit, because it just doesn't do anything, and it keeps it out of my hand. I ultimately chose not to use Gamma during my previous turn because I was like, you know what, I'd rather use Gamma as like tribute fodder. So we then go into RS, then we get to go Chainlink 1 will be Rico to target a spell or trap my opponent controls being the Enneopolis, and Chainlink 2 would then be the mix to target a monster my opponent controls. Now, as this resolves, because I've got the Pixia will flip face up. I can no longer target cards on the field, but because I've already targeted them in the chain, that's not in effect. but it does negate and negate the mix so that I don't destroy the monster, and they get to banish one from my hand face down permanently. And the one they banish permanently is Ash Blossom, and I was like, that's probably like the only one I really needed there. So we destroy the Enneacraft. The reason I do that is because Enneacraft is what during the end phase would ultimately end up burning me for 3,600 life points, which is quite a big chunk to take. So it was quite important to get rid of the Enneacraft. We're going to activate JJ Cool Tune. So this is going to allow me to get an additional normal summon of a tuner monster. I haven't normal summoned Mix yet, and that's usually the way you'd want to do this. So normal summon Mix effect would grab me a level 3, and you're trying to work into a Q. Looks like my opponent is going to chain the Destructive Daruma Cannon. I'm going to RS to negate that. I don't really want the Pexia and the level 1 to be flipped face down. So search ourselves out a Rico for a follow-up at the next turn, or for during the opponent's turn if I want to, and they negate my first RS, I can go into a second RS, or I of course can go into a Remix. A Remix will let me recycle some materials. So at this moment in time, it's mainly about trying to get rid of the Pexia, because the Pexia right now is quite annoying, because the Pexia turns off the RS, it turns off the Mix graveyard effect, and it turns off the Rico graveyard effect. So it actually stumps me quite a bit. And the only way that I can really get rid of it is through Trap Maker, which is what we're going to see here. So we're going to Loudness War. I think it's used Trap Maker. I don't really want to add the Pexia back to the hand, if I'm being honest. So we're going to return one of the scales, because then it means that he loses the EC counters, which is quite important, because then it means if they did get another Enneacraft, as soon as they just go to the end phase, I then still take a huge amount of damage. And the chances are, if they're going to flip their monsters face up, that could be quite damaging as well. And I don't really want to... Attacking the Pexia was quite important, and I didn't want to attack anything that was face down in case I hit like a Mar or something. Like the Mar's the worst one I hit, because if I hit a Mar, having all of my monsters flip face down and then locked into position is really, really damaging in a Synchro-based deck. Fusion-based deck, you don't really care. You just fuse face down. So we're going to use Release's effect in the grave, banish this. We're going to add back the Pexia back to the hand. Now, I think this is a scenario where they should definitely be getting the Pexia to the field. Like the next play they make is getting the Pexia to the field. Because if they don't, when they reveal the Pexia in the hand, it then forces the Loudness Wall to do its effect, to destroy something. So you should definitely be getting that to the field. That means my RS can't negate. I'm just explaining now like what effects I can duplicate. Like I can duplicate a non-target return. I can duplicate a Spell or Trap Destruction, a Excavate at the top 2, and there is a Rico in the graveyard, so a destruction of a monster. Of a Spell and Trap. So we're going to be flipping up the Yugioh. Yugioh flip effect will non-target destroy. At this exact moment in time, like the Loudness War is the only one that can be destroyed, so it's going to be targeted for destruction. So I might as well chain the Mix here. And this is why I'm saying it's quite important, is if the Pexia was down, it says Mar, why didn't Mar, I don't get why Mar didn't flip face up. Because you flip the Mar, so you go chaining 1 Yugioh, chaining 2 Loudness War, chaining 3 Mar, and then I would have had to force to go chaining 4 RS to negate the Mar. I'm not sure why that didn't happen. Might have been a bit of a misstep. Like I said, this is the first time for my opponent like piloting Enneacrafts. There's a couple of different interactions you need to be aware of. Looking like we're going for the Deuce X Crawler. It's actually quite an annoying card, because when it's flip face out, it's kind of like a one-sided skill drain, which is really annoying. So again, it's just monsters that I can't really attack. So when I can't attack and can't target, my ability to kind of clear these cards off does become a little bit limited. So we're gonna, like, my opponent has pretty much done half the job for me already. Trying to get into another Mar. And we've got the Leon. So just gonna roll the dice, randomly choose one, hit one. Obviously, they don't need to reveal it to me. They accidentally did, so I know that they got the Leon. Activate the Reverse. This is what I was saving the RS for, because I was like, I don't really want you recycling your cards. So we use the RS. We're going to banish the Loudness War from the graveyard. And again, this is what I'm saying. Like the Mar should have flipped up. The Mar still would have been negated. The Mar still would have been destroyed. But yeah, I can't think of why the Mar wasn't flipped up previously. It would have made that the reverse would have resolved. Regardless, we've still got like a lot in the hand, so it looks like we're revealing to set. I did say to them after the door, I was like, you need to make sure you're revealing and setting all your big guys. There's no benefit in keeping the big guys in the hand before you do anything. Like they're designed there to protect your little ones to get everything you need. So lessons learned on that one. The other downside as well is when you've left the monster with such low attack in face up attack, especially with RS being so as strong as it is. So I think I've got the Gamma or the Delta, not Delta. Yeah, no, I've got the Gamma because I've got the Gamma back during the end phase. Normal summon Clip, and then I Synchro summon, go into Trapmaker. Trapmaker is going to attempt to search here. Clip's going to banish one from the extra deck, which doesn't matter at all because it has to banish a face down extra deck monster as well. So I can't even like shuffle up their Pendulum monster and then banish one. And I assume the reason for that one is if they're obviously in different sleeves, I'll always know where the Pendulum monster is. So that could be pretty busted. Just checking the reverse here because if there is a Mar set, the reverse at any point I normal or special, they could flip the Mar up. So we're going to go normal summon Q's effect on this one. I foolishly banished the Red Nova. Not that it makes that big of an issue, but reverse is going to trigger. This is going to flip the Pixia. Again, this is, I think, a little bit of inexperience in the sense that you would probably keep the Pixia face down because eventually I'll target something and then the Pixia flips itself face up. So summon a Delta directly from the deck because Deltas and Gammas can only be summoned via card effects. Technically, that's exactly what Q is. So getting that from the deck could be quite useful here because we're going to Synchro into a 6, go into our second Loudness War. This is another like weakness that I found with the deck is if my opponent does not play any tuners, not even like Ash Blossoms, my Loudness War does absolute like it still clones an attack or like clones an effect, but it doesn't actually do like I can't get any attack stats through. It's always on 0, which is a little bit disappointing. I would have loved it to have been something that could attack in defense or something along those lines. Regardless, now it's all about damage control. So it's all about trying to make sure. Now I think there is like 8 or 9 in the graveyard. So RS is actually up quite a bit. And I overthought this one because I was so worried. I was like, I'll save the RS to destroy the Pixia. But I was like, if I just use the RS to attack the Yugioh in attack, I'm pretty sure I would have had enough for game there. Because I think the RS would have been like 4,700. And that would have been enough for game. And now it's just me overthinking all of it just to kind of get the duel. The duel across the line. So we're going cool, tune, synchro during the battle phase. Keeping in mind that was set the previous turn. This is just going to allow me to synchro into another RS. And then the RS now, I'm pretty sure now has has 10 in the graveyard. I'm just doing the count here. So just using Rico and Mix to destroy the 2, 1 spell and 1 monster, and then RS directly in for like 4,000 something damage. We're just checking that there's no response, and then confirm that there is no response. And it looks like we're going to be scooping up, siding up, and going into game number 2. I think, unfortunately for my opponent, like I'm one of the players at locals that have played Enneacrafts, so I kind of know what they want to try and do, and I know what their weaknesses are as well. So the familiar, like one big thing that you have against when you go against Enneacrafts or when you go against a new deck is not knowing what they do and what their choke points are. Like I know Enneacrafts struggle against Drow and Lockbird. I know that technically you should be summoning your big guys to protect, or you should be summoning down the Yugioh if you've got it to protect against Drow and Lockbird. And that's just where like experience comes from it. Fair play to my opponent as well that they're not on the degenerate Vanity's lock. Like if they Vanity locked me, woof. I'm pretty sure I would have actually lost. I don't think I could out Vanities. Because of the way I built the deck, I tried to maintain my tuners. So, legit, there is no field clearers. And I can't special on the Vanities. So, honestly, I don't think I out Vanities. I'm just thinking about that now. If I had got Vanities, would I have auto lost? I think I would have, you know. I think I legit would have had to scoop, which is painful, but because normal summon Q, they just go, okay, cool. Like Vanities, it's like, okay, well, you're not doing anything there. Anyway, normal summon Q. We've got 2 sets. We're going to get hit with a Soul and Luna. I think this is the other good thing as well, is that all of the Cool Tune, most of the Cool Tune monsters are on summon. The biggest downside of them is they obviously can't use their synchro effect. They can't synchro from the hand or like with the hand if they're not face up. So get to go get a Rico directly from the deck. I believe it's because I've got a Red Nova in the hand. Rico's then going to search, and again they've got the Pixia, so the Pixia is just really annoying to try and deal with targeted effects. Yeah, so we go Rico. Rico gets us into mix. We have already normal summon, so we're just going to synchro summon straight away. Going to go into our... So we use the Red Nova. Oh no, we don't use Red... Is that Red Nova or a Fet Veiler? I target the Book of Eclipse, so apologies on this one. I forgot that Pixia protects all cards from being targeted. So I'm not too sure how much of a difference this would have made. Because the Trapmaker still gets flipped face down. Then flips the Pixia face down as well. Don't know whether it's more beneficial for them to hold it or not, but that's just a misplay on my behalf. Like, I completely forgot Pixia protects everything from being targeted. So it would have just been Chain Link 1 Trapmaker to get the JJ Cool Tune, additional normal summon of the Mix. Mix is going to get me a level 3 for a follow-up. The idea, what I was trying to get to, and this was kind of like the plan, was to get Trapmaker to the graveyard, so like a non-target return the Pixia back to the hand. Or it's synchro summon into an RS, and an RS just attacks over the Pixia. Pot of Prosperity. And if anyone's wondering why I didn't banish a card from my hand, it's like Pixia only banishes a card from the hand when a card is targeted on the field. It has to like card effect, targeted, negate, and then do what it needs to do. So this Prosperity was tragic because it was, I think it was like Gamma, 2 Drone Lockbirds, 1 Ash Blossom, and 2 Cool Tune Synchros. So I'm like, do I take the Drone Lockbird and stop 1 search of your next turn? Or do I just take the Cool Tune Synchro and just try and push to be as aggressive as possible? And like I said, with the Pixia already on the field and also face down now, reset to go. Rico's Graveyard effect, the Loudness Wars effect, apart from a Trackmaker being in the graveyard, is completely dead, as is our RS. Like, none of those effects could be used. So, yeah. And with the Trackmaker face down, the only benefit I get is that Book of Eclipse flips these face up. So I suppose the only difference is you probably keep hold of the Book of Eclipse and use a Destructive Daruma Cannon. So we get to go into RS. Now that Pixia is face down, we are able to kind of force some stuff. But the only one we can use right now is Mix. So we target a monster. And then for some reason decided to chain the Destructive Daruma Cannon, which I couldn't quite understand. The only reason I could possibly think that you flip the Destructive Daruma Cannon is the hope that I use RS to chain the effect to negate it, and then Pixia flips itself face up. But I was like, we're not going to do that. We still resolved the Mix, destroying the face down. We set free. And then we read Book of Eclipse. Book of Eclipse actually flips up all of my monsters that are in face down defense position. And then I draw a card for each. I don't draw a card for... at least I'm not pretty sure on this one. Because I've read it like 2 or 3 times. I was like, oh, I always thought it only flips up the cards it flips face down. But that's not the case. And maybe I just need to check to see if it says draw cards equal to the ones that were flipped face down. Then your opponent draws cards equal to a number of monsters changed face up by this effect. So yeah, I'll draw 3, which is exactly what I do. I don't think my opponent fully knew that either. I thought that I believe they felt that it only flips up the ones that were flipped down, which would have only been 1 or 2? 1, I think. So draw 3 is pretty good, but my draw 3s, I think, were a Perulia, completely dead when I already have a field, and then I can't remember what else. I think one was probably like a Delta or something. So flipping up the Pixia is definitely the right way to go. It means I can't target their stuff. Activating the Fallen and the Virtuous, sending Albion, targeting a card, just confirming which one we're targeting the RS. So it's all about kind of chaining this one, right? So we chain Cool Tune Synchro. This is going to allow me to add and then Synchro. Kind of gives me a secondary... Like, what I want to try and work for is into a 6. And once I get rid of the Pixia, so we go for a 6 in the form of clip, then we get to perform a synchro summon, going into Loudness War. This is probably like the biggest benefit I used Loudness War for was its non-destruction protection of my other tuners. So then as we try to resolve the Fallen and the Virtuous with Loudness War on the field, it can't be destroyed. Then on a new chain, we've got Chain Link 1 clip to banish from the extra deck. And then Chain Link 2 will be, Chain Link 1 is Trap Maker, Chain Link 2 is clip. We return the Pixia to the hand. The only benefit of this one is it means that when my opponent activates a card or effect, I can then use Loudness War. And if I'm able to synchro summon again, because we know that I've got a clip in the hand, I can also start picking stuff apart. So we're activating Reverse. Reverse adds the Mar back from the extra deck. Was it a Mar? Yeah, and then we activate one of the scales. Scale gets ogred. Activate the second scale, paying another 900 life points. That's going to get Ash Blossomed. And then, so this is what I'm saying, like, it's very important. Not that having any of the other big guys face down would have helped, but having them, like, against those particular hand interactions, but having them face down still would have given me a bit more to worry about. Anyway, draw for turn, we're going to activate Synchro Overtake. We're going to reveal, I think I reveal Remix on this one to get a mix. Again, it's trying to get access to the Trap Maker. The Trap Maker is kind of what makes it. Looks like we go for RS. So I think we're just going to go for Brutal Aggression. But then I was like, you know what? If I hit a Mar, I'm so screwed. Because if I hit Mar, all of my cards get flipped face down. And then they're all locked in position. And because it's during, I'm pretty sure because it's during the damage set, I can't use RS to negate. I could be wrong on that one, but I'm pretty sure I can't use RS to negate the flip effect of Mar. If I can, happy days. But I'm pretty sure I can't. So it's like I have to hit the Pixia, otherwise I'm in big trouble. So we go Chain Link 1, Chain Link 1 Rico, Chain Link 2 Clip, and then it's like, because they're chains, they can't use Pixia because Pixia is a when effect. So it misses its timing, which means I can destroy the scale. And then I already know what the Pixia is because the Pixia was the last card to be revealed. And then card was set. So now it's like, oh, well, if I know where the Pixia is, I can't attack the other one because if it's Mar, I'm so boned. So we're just going to attack the Pixia. I'll put that into the extra deck. It gets flipped face up. There's not really anything to do. I'm just explaining there's like 10 tuners in my graveyard, so it's strong enough to happen. And the reason I leave the Mar on the field is if I leave it in a position where they have to flip the Mar, I can then negate it because obviously Mar doesn't flip during the damage step. But if I attack it, it's a different argument. So draw for turn. No, it's kind of like that moment of is that top deck? If the top deck was any of the little guys, I'd be in a big trouble. But they just pass it here. The only way that I can now out Mar is I need to either destroy it with Mix, get them to activate something so that I can duplicate Mix in the graveyard. And pretty much here what I'm doing is I'm using Synchro Overtake, revealing Remix in the extra deck, getting Mix, Synchro Mix off. This is then going to get me into Remix. Use Mix to destroy the Mar. Look at the top two cards of there, banish one, put one back to the bottom because I use Q. And then switch the RS to attack and just attack with everything. And that's enough game for that one. Anyways, it was a good duel, a bit of back and forth. I think it's a little bit of inexperience in regards to what the cards can do, what the Enneacraft can actually do. And I think that's kind of something that is it just comes with experience. It just comes with time. That's kind of how it works. Anyway, I hope this has given you a bit of an insight into both of these brand new decks from Phantom Revenge. I really do enjoy the new decks in Phantom Revenge. I've got some Hecker Hand duels and profiles up on the channel as well to give you a bit more of an idea of how it kind of wants to work and everything else in between. For now, as absolutely always, stay safe and, of course, happy dueling.